Next for us on the Town Hall, if you've gone out for a boozy brunch on a Sunday, you might have ordered a mimosa in the early morning hours. Not that early, but after 10 a.m. That used to be illegal. But this week, state lawmakers are trying to align liquor store hours with the restaurants, letting the liquor stores also open at 10 on Sunday mornings instead of noon. It's one of quite a few recommendations coming from a group of 21 people who were asked to look into the state's old liquor laws. They produced a 192-page document, and we're going to highlight some of those proposals for you now. Joining us live to help us understand it is Melissa Fleischute. She is the president and CEO of the New York State Restaurant Association and was a member on this commission. You're always kind to share some of your time with us here on the show, Melissa. We appreciate it. I'll get to the impact directly on restaurants, which you represent. But first, we mentioned that proposal there that a lot of people are talking about, allowing liquor stores to open at 10 on Sunday mornings instead of having to wait until noon. As a member of the commission, why do you think that was one of the things that the commission got behind changing?
So we had some specific topics that we had to address from the New York State Legislature and Governor Hochul that they had put forward when this legislation passed last year that the commission had to address. So looking at the hours of operation was one of those. And from our standpoint, we were trying to find consistency. So liquor stores had brought up the fact that we had managed to get brunch bill passed several years prior. We were allowed to open at 10 o'clock, so they asked to be open at 10 o'clock as well on Sunday mornings. So for consistency's sake, that's something that we supported as the New York State Restaurant Association on the commission and got behind that recommendation. All the recommendations have to be voted on by the legislature. We don't have any authority to make them happen unilaterally, but it is one of the recommendations that came out.
And Melissa, one of the biggest issues for consumers right now, as you know, is having to go to different stores depending on the type of alcohol that you're trying to purchase. Another thing the commission looked at here, and we'll show our viewers 3 potential changes: allowing wine to be sold at grocery stores, allowing liquor to be sold at grocery stores, and then allowing beer to be sold at liquor stores. All 3 of those failed to get majority support, but you actually voted for all 3 of them, even though it doesn't necessarily help the restaurant industry that you represent. I think you deserve credit for that. Walk us through why you thought these would have been good and what you make of the fact that all 3 failed to get majority support.
So the commission was made up of a lot of different sectors of the alcoholic beverage industry: wholesalers, distributors, liquor stores, restaurants and bar representatives. So we were trying, from our standpoint, to make sure that there was a lot of economic development behind these proposals. And what could we do to be more supportive of economic development or update antiquated laws? So from our standpoint, again, you know, the restaurant industry, we have unlimited liquor licenses. That was another topic we discussed, about expanding liquor licenses for off-premise. We have, you know, as many as a restaurant owner wants to keep going. If they want to have multiple locations, that's fine. So that's something we got behind. And again, we just thought, you know, convenience for the consumer and economic development. If these stores want to open up and sell more things, why not? And again, we didn't want to pick winners and losers. We didn't want to say the grocery stores could do one thing, but the liquor stores couldn't do another. And again, it doesn't really impact restaurants and bars, but for economic development reasons, we got behind these proposals.
Melissa, you touched on this a little bit there, but in terms of specifically to restaurant and bars, what proposals here would you say are most significant to the local businesses that you represent? I guess in terms of some things with licensing, purchasing power, that sort of thing.
So one of the things I think that's going to make a difference is the ability to purchase from a liquor store if you run out of something on a Saturday night. This would be a limited quantity, you know, of something that you needed to have but didn't have enough of that weekend for some reason. Right now, we're not legally allowed to run across the street to the liquor store and get an extra bottle or 2 or 3 or 6 if we need it. But, you know, in a limited amount, that would be part of the recommendation, that we could do that going forward. I think that's probably a big one. There's other things that are very old laws that would restrict the amount of liquor licenses in a 500-foot radius. We're currently limited to 3. Anything more than that triggers what's called the 500-foot hearing to see if it's in the best interest to have more than that in 500 feet. And then there's a very old one from the 1800s that restricts the liquor license from being issued if it's within 200 feet of a place of worship or a school. So recommendations came out to repeal both the 500-foot rule and the 200-foot rule. Again, I think for economic development reasons and to update these very, very old alcoholic beverage laws.
The 1800s. Melissa, I've only got about 30 seconds left here. One state senator said that these changes aren't necessarily, quote, transformative, but maybe a step in the right direction. Is this just a first step? Is there a lot more that needs to be done, especially looking at other states' liquor laws?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we had specific topics, so there were only certain things that we could discuss. And because it is such a diverse industry with 3 tiers, as we are set up currently under the regulatory system, it's hard to get us all to agree. And I think probably there are some pet projects in there that the legislators would like to look at that were close, that we were unable to reach a majority vote on. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of negotiation going forward, not only on the ones that were recommended, but on the ones that were a very close vote.
Yeah, and again, this now goes to the New York State Legislature. We'll follow up. Melissa Fleischut is the president and CEO of the state's Restaurant Association. Thanks so much for your time, Melissa. Good to see you.
Thank you, Michael.